Good afternoon, LEC community. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We just scheduled this live stream because we have an amazing nominee with us. As you know, the Latinx Educator Award nominations just closed yesterday, one of these days. And we finally are getting some awesome nominees to chat with us about what these nominations mean to them. So today we have someone who you are very familiar with. We have the amazing Sofía González with us out of Illinois. You may have seen her at this year's Evolución. She's been on a couple of other things. She's been on Ask an Educator. And of course, to no surprise, Sofia has been nominated for this year's Latinx Educator Awards. Sofia, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Susana. It's so good to be here, just finishing a day's work in the classroom and still haven't left.
Well, everyone who's here, join me in sending some appreciating and some grateful vibes to Sophia and to all the teachers who are wrapping up a school day, not school year. Appreciate you, Sophia, for the work that you do. So, for the people who don't know you, tell us who you are, your role, and how you got here.
Yeah, sure. So, hola a todos. My name is Sofía González, 14-year veteran in the high school classroom, social activist, disruptor. I'm a lot of things, but I think at the heart of it is just my love to see justice take its stand in the world of education. I am the lead visionary for a nonprofit by the name of Project 214. In honor of my first classroom, I co-founded it with an incredible group of visionaries and leaders. And it was really born out of a burden working my first 5 years in the inner city of Chicago. It really just opened up in a panoramic view some of the disparities that some of our nation's most vulnerable youth were experiencing. And so I really needed to make a decision. You know, once you become exposed, you become aware. And once you become aware, you have a decision. Do I involve myself or do I perpetuate the problem with indifference? And I really wanted to involve myself and be part of the change that I really wanted to see among some of our youth that were really marginalized and just stuck on those margins. And so I'm just excited to be in this space. I mean, I'm also a fellow with a few other fellowships, one of them being Expresión, the inaugural Storytellers for Change with LEC. And I'm just, excited to be in community. LEC has been such a blessing to me coming all the way from Kansas City to Chicagoland area. I'm excited to be with you all in this moment.
Well, I'm sure like no one is surprised, but it is no wonder after all that you've said that you were nominated for this year's Educator of the Year award. These are annual awards, and this year we expanded a little bit because why not recognize more educators across the country? So we've got some nominations for you, some under Educator of the Year for impact and
Wow.
some under Educator of the Year for authenticity. That should come to no surprise to anyone listening now, but what does it mean to you?
Gosh, like it means everything. I know that sounds a bit cliche, but it really does. Whew, and I did not plan on getting emotional, but every every year, right? You face another school year and you say, "Man, can I continue to fight this hard, to teach this hard, and to love this wide? Do I continue to, concern myself not only for issues that I'm seeing at the building level, but at the state and at the national level when it comes to representation, when it comes to education equity, when it comes to quality resources, when it comes to advocating for our Latinx youth, for our communities of color? Like, do I have it in me another year?" Right? Um, and it's moments like this, right? Where you say to yourself, number one, I'm not alone, right? There's something about collective agency. Um, And there's something about community, right? That catches you when your arms are tired in the work. And it just gives me that push forward, like, yes, it is worth it. Yes, you can go another year. Yes, you can fight another moment. And that's what this moment means to me, being in this space. Like, it's just a forehead kiss, right? You know, it's an opportunity to feel seen, and, you know, to feel heard. And, you know, us renegades, us agitators, man, we need that. We need a collective to come alongside of us and say, we see you. And it's not just for the sake of accolade, but it's for the sake of encouragement. Like, you have got to keep going. So it just reminds me that what I'm doing is valuable, that it is meaningful, and that I am recognized in this moment for the work that is ahead, and for the work that I'm currently doing, like, with all of my heart, without apology, with my resources, with my time, with my assets. And it, you know, it it really takes a special, you know, individual to sign up for the work that you and I do. Um, and really being obedient to that call. I consider this a calling, something that is like my civic and social responsibility. And I do not take that lightly.
Look, you didn't expect on getting emotional. I did not either. And I also didn't expect to be, I mean, I should have expected getting taken to church, but because I'm talking to you.
Come on.
But like, right? I mean, all of that, and it's why we exist, right? It's why we do the work that we do. And look at this. You are seen, you are loved. Anastasia's with us. I'm sure you met her at
Oh,
Evolución this
girl.
year.
I see you,
She's
Anna.
sending love. She's sending love to you. Thank you again for what you do. Now, kind of to double down on all of that, data shows that Latinx representation matters in schools, and we know that you said it right. What impact do you see yourself having on your students? You being a Latina in Chicago, and doing the work that you do.
Man, it's real. Let me tell you, like, it's so real. The idea of mirrors and windows, man, it's so real. Just the impact that it really makes. And it's not just the research that points to it, but it's actual, for me, it's anecdotal evidence that proves it. It's this notion of coming in a space and really amplifying the cultural landscape as opposed to oppressing it and assimilating, and just really allowing, you know, students to see themselves in the adult in the space. And what that does to the kids is just so incredibly vital, crucial, and necessary to advance. You know, the Latino population is the fastest growing population in the United States. So it's almost like if you invest in us, then you are investing in the future of our democracy. And so it just goes so much more broader and wider. But I didn't see a teacher of color, a Latino or Latinx teacher, until I became one. And that in and of itself was problematic. And so just being that representation, being that mirrors and windows, being that picture of possibility, that you could be in a position of influence, that you could choose a career that matters to you, that you could generate wealth, that you could impact the lives of those that are in front of you. I think that makes an incredible difference. I'll give you one example of that, and then we could pivot to another question. I got to my home district in 2014, just coming outside of Chicago, and I had a student that obviously was in one of my classes, and she just recently came back to the building, but as a teacher. And it is her third year. I have lunch with her. She's my colleague now. And she wrote me an email on her first day here, and she said, Mrs. Gonzalez, it's me, it's Janet Montalvo, and I'm going from your student to your colleague, and I'm an English teacher now, and I wanted you to know that you inspired me. We're gonna cry again. What in the heck is happening? She's like, you inspired me. You were one of the first Latina educators that I saw, and you were just full of life and full of energy. And because of you, I am back here along my dreams to become a teacher. And she's like, man, and I just wanted to thank you. And I'm like, Janet, you need to stop. And I'm just so proud of her. And that's just an example, right? Of like the impact of representation. And she's in her own neighborhood. She's teaching to her own community. She's alum. She's Latina. She's coming in here making waves. She's in the ELL cohort with me. We're getting endorsements together. Now, who would have thought, Susana, that my former student is now my present colleague and my cohort member as we chase after this ELL endorsement to service our multilingual language learners in the space to amplify what they need to get these ideas going of they need quality resources, and we as educators need to be that quality resource. That's what they deserve. That's just an example, right, of the importance of representation.
And it's a huge example, but it's only one, right? We could tell story after story after story, and here, like, but Janet now being your colleague and her seeing now the other side of things, and you influencing her decision to become an educator, like, it's almost I hate to say it's the exception, right? Unfortunately.
Right.
But the more and more of us that there are who say, "No, girl, you talk how you talk. No, you dress how you dress. No, we are who we are,"
Right.
the more that will be influenced to say, "You know what? School is a place for me."
Yep.
And so many of us, when we get pushed out, is one thing, right? But many of us don't want to go back as educators, right? Because we're like, I didn't feel accepted when I was there as a student. Why would I consider as a career? So, first of all, I need to meet Janet.
I will definitely bring her around soon at some capacity. Yes, I'm so proud of her, and she's doing incredible. And I always like to say, it's funny, again, we could pivot after this, but when you're in grad school, you have to do like little discussions on the discussion board. And I was discussing with Janet, and she had a very like well-written post. And I'm like, first of all, as Janet's former English teacher, I would like to take some credit for how articulate she sounds in this moment about multiculturalism in the US classroom. I digress. It's just
first
amazing.
of all, I love that.
Now, okay.
What a dream. What a dream come true, Sofia. I love that. I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. I'm excited to meet her. Now, you kind of touched on our next question about why Latinx teachers are important. You had an amazing example. So when it comes down to it, what keeps you going?
Man, what keeps me going? See, I'm a English teacher, obviously, so poetry, literary devices. I'm going to lean into alliteration a little bit, that repetition of consonant sound. The crew, the call, and the cross are the couple things, are the things that kind of keep me going. I'll start with the crew. You definitely need community. In this kind of work that we are doing. You need community, you need networks, you need a soft place to land, you need a safe space, you need like-mindeds, you need people that are going to gas you up, you need people that are going to challenge you and push out the very best that you have within you. So it is my crew that keeps me going first and foremost. I'll start with my fellowships. First of all, Latinx Education Collaborative keeps me going. We are here still together. Come on now. This is not coincidental. This is not coincidental. Okay, this is serendipitous. We're just going to say this is a serendipitous moment. We still have work to do together in collaboration, and I am here for it. Okay, then we have Latinos for Education, another fellowship alumni network that I'm in, that I'm doing some work with them as well. I'm a Fulbright scholar, so that whole idea of like global education as a version of equity and really taking on this global mindset of what it looks like to push cultural justice, what it looks like to push racial equity at the local, national, and global level. They've got me. I've got an out-of-country trip lined up where I am going to be interrogating concepts like, internationally, are we disrupting the text? Internationally, are we celebrating the cultural heroes of the cultural landscape in this place? And if not, why so? And that is a version of justice. Is there representation here in whatever country that I'm going to be in? It could be Brazil, Morocco, India. I'm still waiting on the Fulbright community to let Ms. G know where to use her passport. That's all I'm saying with that. Okay. I mean, I've got just some great crew / spaces. I just got back from Washington, D.C. with Urban Leaders Fellowship, which is another national space that really just allowed me to push out into policy and practice. Now, Ms. G didn't know diddly squat about policy, but Ms. G was going to find out. And they gave me an opportunity, being in DC, being in the Capitol, working with the state of Maryland, examining. Guess what I was examining? I was examining representation across DC and the Maryland state area. Yes, I was. The DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I was interrogating the numbers. I was looking at, and guess what? It's still hard to move that needle. And now I have that. I have that lens by which to kind of lean on, and they really empowered me, right? And then I have my family, I have my friends, my close-knit friends. It probably won't shock anybody that my best friends are also teachers, and that we all come together. You know, my parents, definitely my mom. Guess what? She came out of retirement. Guess what she is, Susana? She is a
What's she doing?
She is a first grade dual language teacher coming back to teach the babies who just came from different countries, immigrant children that have migrated to the United States. And she's helping them to read, to write, and to engage in all of their subjects while advocating for them at the building level. That's my mom. Okay. that's my mom. She said, hold up.
Okay, so clearly universities need to hire Ms. G to do this recruitment to get people certified to teach, because the vibes that Ms. G is giving off, just like it's you can't avoid it. You like, I gotta be a teacher now.
That's it. I mean, that's it. Come through here. And I'm going to convince you that education is the space and the great equalizer that is going to transform the trajectory of our future. So come and talk and have a conversation with me. Okay. The crew. We're just the crew, Susanna. We're just at my crew.
You know, Ms. G done got off a whole day of teaching, and y'all got her this hot. Y'all got her this fire.
Listen,
you know. It just, here's one of our nominees for Educator of the Year for impact and authenticity, and you obviously see why. Sofia, you were nominated by your colleagues, by people who see the work that you're doing, so congratulations. We are actually getting a committee together tomorrow to go through all the nominations, a committee, you know, who will go through all the things and narrow down, and we'll be celebrating the winners coming up on December 8th. So be on the lookout, everyone. Ms. G, be on the lookout, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Adelante a todos. And this has been a great moment in time for us to have a conversation. I love you, LEC. I love y'all.
We love you. Thank you, Ms. G.